Seek raced down the emptied street, finding that the commission had evacuated or advised citizens of the city to stay away from the area. He noticed windows locked and shielded from view, sans for a few with children peering out to watch the scene unfold before them. He even waved at a few who caught his eye, finding that they watched him speed away before a trail of fire and ice nipped at his heels. Todoroki rode on a wave of ice through the street, leaving crystal dust in his wake while he shot fireballs here and there, ensuring his careful precision to avoid causing too much structural damage. With every shot, he steered Seek towards where he and you had planned for him to go, hoping to lead him to you for capture.
"Love, he's rounding the last corner,"
advised Todoroki.
"Get ready."
"Prepping now,"
you replied. You stood within the center of a crossroads, taking a deep breath before you drew all water sources from 4 barrels in each corner, courtesy of Endeavor's agency. Your body temperature dropped significantly, feeling the center of your core still warm within the lycra outfit. That shiver returned up your back, but ignoring that, you swung your arms around in a circular motion, carrying the weight of the entire pool of water until it covered your circumference. You took deep breaths, holding your stance and watching the corner, soon hearing the familiar sounds of roaring flames and the crackle of ice in the distance. Seek appeared in your sights, his cloak flapping in the wind, while a blast of heat shot from behind him, licking against his clothes. By reflex, you swung your arms towards him, shooting water in his direction from the massive circlet that surrounded you. As if motion slowed, Seek spotted the mass of water speed towards him, gracefully dodging the assault and twirling close to the floor, before he found his footing, pushing against the pavement and charging towards you. "Gotcha!" you spoke, pulling your arms in and splitting the water spout into 2. He was quick, and you hoped your movements were quicker, watching the spout speed towards him, ready to ensnare him in a sphere. Seek eyed the attack, watching from side to side, and assessed their speeds until they converged in front of him, halting his tracks. With a large splash, both spouts merged into one until they engulfed him in a small sphere, tight enough that he no longer had room to make any running starts. The roar of the water filled his ears, reaching out to touch its surface only to be burned by the tumultuous rapids. He peered through its glassy surface, watching your form moving on the other side, and smiled. You still motioned your hands and arms in circular movements, keeping the sphere in constant motion fast enough that breaching would be made impossible. The chill began to seep into your bones, thinking back that testing the outfit at this magnitude on a mission was probably not the wisest decision to make. You glanced towards the corner, spotting Todoroki's arrival while he leapt from his icy trail, watching you with a proud smile. Despite the constant shiver you felt tingling up your spine, you smiled back, acknowledging the success the both of you achieved. There was no need for the backup plan.
"HQ, we have him,"
affirmed Todoroki on his earpiece.
"Send reinforcements as soon as possible. We're not sure how long we can hold him."
From the corner of Todoroki's eye, a blur breached your watery prison, his arms shielding his face while his clothes clung onto him without any concern. You stared at the culprit's fleeting form, spying his smiling eyes on you before he was on the charge again. In a panic, you collected all the water sources, stepping back from the man and swinging your arms to surround yourself in a larger sphere, encasing the culprit and yourself inside. In a large wave, water crashed onto each other, the vicious clap and roar of its sheer size echoing through the streets.
Love!
Yelled Todoroki before he disappeared behind the wall of water. The roar filled your ears while you continued to move, keeping the sphere intact, with Zeke trapped with you. Your eyes stayed on his now drenched form, yet all he did was stand there, watching you with those smiling eyes.
I knew you'd be trouble, darling, but your tenacity is very inspiring.
He spoke. You said nothing. All you wanted was to keep him trapped here for as long as possible. Backup would surely arrive after Todoroki had made that call.
Not a talker.
He continued.
I wouldn't be surprised. You do have trust issues.
Whatever you have to say, I have no part in it.
You replied.
You don't know me, and I don't know you.
True. You don't know me, but I know plenty about you. At least what you could become.
That shiver began to show in your limbs, trembling while you still held onto the sphere's integrity. The force of the waves continued to keep consistent, but in the back of your mind, you knew your body wouldn't last, with body temperatures dropping with every movement you made.
Love, get out of there,
ordered Todoroki through your earpiece, feeling the shakes now quiver in your entire body. Suddenly, Zeke charged towards you. You broke part of the sphere, utilizing each spout of water to shoot him down, but with each one, he dodged them easily, until he grabbed hold of your limbs, swinging into you with his thumb on your forehead. Your eyes widened until a warmth engulfed you, warmer than the sun, until Zeke's smile was the only thing you could see.
Now, go to sleep, Angel.
He whispered.
I need to find somebody else.
A wave of energy surged through you, warm and inviting, before it went dark. Todoroki shot an ice blast towards the asphalt, sending him high above the crashing waves that flooded the crossroads. His eyes quickly spotted Zeke's cloak flapping behind him, his feet leaving a trail of wet footprints. With a swing of his hand, Todoroki blasted walls of ice in Zeke's direction, hoping to trap him, yet only being able to at least direct him towards the backup plan, watching him escape into an alleyway in the distance.
Midoriya, we failed.
He informed through his earpiece, leaping onto the pavement.
He looks like he's heading towards you. You can't miss him.
Amongst the wet and soaked crossroads, he found your outfit in a heap, halting his comms momentarily until he slowly peeled away the wet clothes below him. Inside, your tiny body huddled and flinched from the cold, shivering within and trembling with a whine.
It's cold.
You cried, crying under your breath. Todoroki quickly unzipped his top, wrapping you in whatever body warmth was transferred onto his dry clothes, Tucking you in was his priority until he picked you up from the wet. He could feel your trembling severely in his arms, holding you close to his chest in hopes to keep you warm.
Todoroki, what happened? Are you guys okay?
Responded Midoriya over his earpiece. You stared up at Todoroki while he kept his hand on you, hoping his clothes would warm you against his body. He lit his hand in a glow, the flames dancing in the palm of it, close enough for you to feel it lick the air. Your head laid against his chest, pulling a part of his shirt over your body to keep the chill of the air at bay.
Todoroki, come in.
Continued Midoriya in Todoroki's ear.
Come on. Talk to me. What happened?
With a flick of his wrist, Todoroki doused his flames, answering Midoriya's call.
I'm fine, Midoriya. But my love isn't. They're in a serious state. We can't go on any further.
Right. Got it.
The culprit is soaking wet. You can't miss him. Just keep a clear eye out for him.
Roger that. I'll let my cutie know.
I'm sorry, Midoriya. We almost had him.
Don't apologize, Todoroki. Cutie should be able to see him before he reaches us.
Reassured Midoriya.
Thanks for the heads up.
Midoriya's voice trailed before the line was cut, leaving Todoroki confused over the abrupt interruption. It wasn't until you caught his attention that he returned to the situation at hand, watching you tug harder on his shirt to shield you.
Let's get you home,
murmured Todoroki. Sidekicks would be on their way to assist. However, in the state you were in, he thought it best to keep you out of their sights. Todoroki made his way, leaving everything behind, but not before he spotted something glisten by your clothes. He collected your tantalum ring, still intact, sans for a few droplets that decorated its surface. He pocketed the ring away, making note of it before he carried you away from the scene. Eventually, Todoroki traveled back to his place, a decently sized townhouse not far from his family's estate. Ever since he started climbing the Pro Hero rankings, he was able to earn enough for a down payment on his own home, a place to call his. The number of phone calls that buzzed on his phone was astounding, ignoring each call or text message that he received until he entered his front door. You still nuzzled against his chest, unmoving while your breath calmed from the cold. In his one-track mind, Todoroki gently sat you down on his large couch while he made his way to his room, searching through his drawers for anything that would be decent for you to wear. He thought back to yesterday's briefing, hearing your voice in his head, discussing with him on every plan of attack to capture this commission's primary suspect. The both of you had everything to a T. Discussing with Midoriya and his fiancée to join in on this endeavor. Despite Ground Zero and Red Riot's efforts, reading Bakugo's and Kirishima's reports, this suspect was still unpredictable.
It's okay,
piped a voice below him, turning to find you standing by his legs with his shirt dragging behind you, the size of it overwhelming your small body. Your hand pressed against his leg, rubbing soothingly as best as you could despite your age at this time. Todoroki meanwhile stared down at you, surprised, before a smile pulled on his lips, kneeling down to your level with his warm hand on your head.
Thank you,
he spoke, earning a shy response from you, hiding your face from behind his shirt.
I'm just trying to find some dry clothes for you.
You nodded while you patiently waited for him, staring up at his exposed chest until he pulled a loose tee for himself and one for you, along with a scarf he found buried underneath. At the very least, after making you decent in some clean, dry clothes, he found your temperature almost normalized, and your skin no longer cold to the touch. The last thing he wanted was for hypothermia to set in, especially after the use of your quirk at such an intense state. He picked you up into his arms and took you around the home, only to find that you clung on to him, refusing to let him go. No matter how much he tried, you wouldn't release him from your hold.
Everything's alright.
He reassured.
I just need to do a few things.
No.
You uttered, your voice soft while you laid against his shoulder, hugging around his neck.
You're warm.
I won't be gone for too long.
He continued with a gentle smile.
It's just a few chores.
Can I help?
You asked.
Please?
Surprised, Todoroki watched your eyes sadden at the thought of him denying your request. He was genuinely taken by it, remembering that one time back at UA when he had to make up for his provisional license. You weren't as troublesome as those kids years ago, but it reflected in your mannerisms and your reactions.
I'll be good.
Todoroki saw the fervent look in your eyes, sighing inwardly before he held you comfortably in his arms.
Alright then, but try not to slow down too much.
He teased. A smile crossed your face, beaming brightly at his acceptance of your assistance. The rest of the evening was spent doing mundane things, such as basic cleaning and tidying up, laundry, dusting, vacuuming, and the such. You picked up quickly while you tried to do more than what was asked of you. Every now and then, Todoroki would keep you from hurting yourself, opting to show you efficient ways of completing tasks. Every little sound you made caused him to turn in your direction, keeping a loose eye on your progress and whether you were biting more than you could chew in this state. Eventually, after dinner, which consisted of making cold soba for himself and a warm meal for you, Todoroki tucked you in his bed for the night. Aside from the overall situation, you had not caused any issues, except for your clinginess, which still was present with your fingers wrapped around his.
Do you have to go?
You asked through a tiny yawn.
Can you stay?
I'm sorry, love. It's better you have the bed, and I sleep on the couch.
He explained.
No, don't go.
You whined, refusing to release his fingers.
I'm scared of the dark.
Exhausted, Todoroki wondered what the best course of action was until he felt something against his leg in his pocket, pulling out your ring that glistened against the lights of his home. He looked between you and the ring with an idea. One he thought to try that his mother oftentimes did when he was a boy, with a few reinterpretations.
I won't be leaving you, as long as you keep this close.
He motioned, showing you the ring in the palm of his hand.
What does it do?
You asked curiously through your sad eyes. For a moment, Todoroki learned that you had very little recollection of your memories, past and present, as if they were a blur. It made it easier to continue this route.
It's a special ring. It'll keep us together, no matter where you are. Like this story, I know. Would you like to hear it?
You nodded shyly while he slipped into the bed next to you, sitting atop the linen and making himself comfortable. He gave the ring to you, placing it in your palms.
This story was told to me by my mother. Every time I felt scared, she would recite to me tales about a monster and his angel.
He explained with a smile.
A monster?
You asked while you dug your head into the sheets.
That's scary.
Not necessarily. Still want to hear it?
You apprehensively stared into Todoroki's calm eyes, nodding slowly, intrigued still by the premise of his bedtime story. His smile grew while he laid next to you, ensuring the ring was still in your hands.
The story takes place in a kingdom ruled by an honorable family, but they held a secret. A monster with a marred face hidden away in his lonely castle, trapped in ice and snow. He cried every night, calling out to the dark, "Please, someone hear me." But no one answered. Every day he would wait in this castle, unable to visit anybody, no family, no friends. Until one night of the full moon, someone appeared by his door. He was met by a person cloaked in a heavy cloth, holding out a ring, just like the one in your hands right now.
I cannot stay,
They would start.
but this will keep you company. I shall be your eyes and ears to the world, and I will share my experiences with you, whether joyful or not. Only if you accept this, I will show you the world.
The monster at first did not believe them, seeing their offer as nothing more than a horrible joke to their existence. But the visitor was persistent, offering more than their companionship. They revealed a light from under the cloak, shining brightly before the front door and almost blinding the monster with this ethereal light.
No one sent me, nor was I forced to. I came because I had heard of your pains and woes and want to relieve them, if only a little. Please, accept my gift, and let me show you the world through my eyes. Let me help you stand against the dark.
The monster, still skeptical, merely touched the ring to see a glimpse of something warm and bright. And even though he was afraid of the unknown, he took that leap, accepting the ring and keeping it with him. Since that day, the monster would no longer be afraid of the dark. He would hear the soft whispers of his angel, who shared their joys, their pains, and their struggles. All he ever wanted was someone to stand by him, now and forever, holding on to that ring until eternity ended.
Todoroki glanced towards you, now asleep in his bed. Your ring loosely slipped on one of your fingers despite its size. He smiled at you while he brushed some of your hair from your face, slipping out of the bed, slowly, while he made his way to his lounge room, opting to leave the bedroom door open, just in case. Luckily for Todoroki, he ordered a sofa bed for his home, sleeping out on the double while you slept in his room. It was a surprisingly comfortable sleep, having thought this through in case any friends of his needed to spend the night. He tossed a little on the mattress, turning to feel something next to him. Another body that clung onto his. In his sleepy state, his eyes peered through heavy eyelids to find you by his side, now fully grown from the effects of the culprit's quirk. He stared down at your form, finding your ring now occupying its rightful place on your hand while you soundly slept. He smiled at the sight.
Wake up, love,
he whispered, his fingers trailing your cheek, while you lightly moaned in the pillow next to him. You refused while you nuzzled closer into him, breathing deeply.
This monster needs another 5 minutes.
You groaned, grabbing as much warmth as you could from his body. Todoroki chuckled before he held you with him, kissing the top of your forehead. He felt you fall back asleep, yet he wondered quite the opposite while he closed his eyes, now clinging onto you in the morning light.
Take all the time in the world, Angel.
Thank you for tuning in to another fanfiction reading. If you enjoy what I do, or would just prefer to fall asleep to my voice, please hit the like button, ring that bell, and subscribe to my channel. I cannot wait. 3 more to go. I have been a bit distracted lately on other projects, but hopefully I'll be able to finish this trope and move on with some more lore-induced stories. Maybe not, but we'll see how we go. Thank you for visiting. I hope to hear from you soon, next we meet.